Alvaro. I hope that you are doing well. It's great. It's great to do these videos for you because it's always wonderful to learn something new. And yeah, so let's get started. So tonight, or in this video, I want to actually have a look at pronouns. So normally pronouns are quite easy because, excuse me, we've got I, you, me, he, she, it, they. So we've got a whole lot of pronouns. But I want to go in a little deeper to pronouns and be a bit more specific about them. So let's get down to some of these pronouns. Okay, so we're going to start with generic pronouns. Now, a generic pronoun is something a little different. Okay, generic pronoun basically comes down to uh, pronouns such as one, you, or we. And when we use this, we talk about people in general. So we don't want to single out somebody and say you are the one, or he is the one, or I am the one. We want to talk about people in general. So in other words, this will mean that the speaker and the hearer or the listener um, are both the same. Everybody's included. There's not one person in particular. So, for example, one can never know what to expect from politicians. Okay, that's a bad example. Let's rather do number two. In these situations, you must never lose your hope. So it's general. Okay, it can be anybody. You could be talking about yourself. You could be talking about your friends. You could be talking about people in general. So that is why they are called generic pronouns, which is one, you, and we. All right. Now, one is more formal than we or you. All right. And we normally don't use it in spoken English. However, you can use it. Now, normally we've got the possessive determiner ones, which is a little bit more common to use in speaking. Okay, but normally one is used for writing. For example, poverty eats up one's dignity. So we normally won't say poverty eats up one dignity. So we would rather use one's dignity, all right, in that case. Now, one, you, and we can either be used as a subject, it can be used as an object, all right, or we can use them in their reflexive form, and we'll still get to that part. For example, sometimes the government treats us as if we were a child. Okay, so it can be both. You kind of opening it up there. It's both a subject and it's the object, so you can use it anywhere, which makes it really interesting, especially for if you're wanting to make a statement that is generic. You don't want to single out a person. You just want to talk about people in general. Now, something that is really, really important is consistency. Okay, keeping it constant. So if you choose to use one kind of pronoun, all right, stay with it. Don't change it. In other words, we do not say, you never know what our future will hold or will bring us. So we keep it the same. You never know what your future will bring you. We never know what our future will bring us. So we keep it constant. All right, we keep that consistency there the whole time. Then, of course, we have the general one, generic pronoun called they. So we had a look now at one, you, and we. And now we're going to have a look at the generic pronoun called they. Now, they are normally used when we are talking about a group of people. So in English, we often use they to refer to people in general or a more specific group of people that does not include the speaker or the hearer. Okay. So we is fine if it's the speaker and the hearer. But in this case, if you're talking about another group of people that does not include you, so this will be, for example, people of a different country, a city, a place, or authorities or police, because you are not a part of them. All right. They don't like strangers in this village. You are not part of that village. Okay. They are going to open a new pub opposite my house. You are not included in opening the pub. Okay. Unless you are involved, and then you can use the generic pronoun we. Okay. But if you're not involved, don't worry. You can use they. Sorry. You can have a singular reference. Now, singular reference normally refers to he or she. All right. Now, when we when we're doing spoken English, we can use they, them, and their to basically refer to a one generic person and one person only, be it male or female. It doesn't really matter. When we use he or she, it's gender specific. So he is for male, she is for female. But we can use they, them, and their to refer to a generic person. A lot of people, okay, so grammarians, all right, people that are really into their grammar, say this is totally incorrect. But it is very common. It's a spoken language. It's something that we just do. All right. So, for example, a good journalist should never reveal that where they get their information. A good journalist, this is singular. All right, that's a singular person, one journalist, but we're still using they and their to talk about them. All right, so we're still keeping that generic um, pronoun going there. So in that case, you never know. You don't know who this journalist is, and you don't know anything about their information. All right. Uh, The use of they, them, and their for generic singular reference is often preceded by an indefinite singular noun pronoun. So like someone has left their suitcase in the taxi. We don't know who it is. All right, that's the indefinite singular pronoun. Someone, everyone, nobody. All right, so we can normally use that um, before the generic singular reference. Okay. So what I'm going to do for you, that is generic pronouns. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to send you an email. I'm going to send you these documents, but I'm also going to send you some exercises that you can have a look at and choose which one of these you would like to have or like to use. The next one we're going to have a look at is reflexive and reciprocal pronouns. Oh, I hate that word. Reciprocal. Um, so let's have a look at reflexive pronouns first. Reflexive pronouns, quite easily, things like myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, all the selves. All right. There's also a generic pronoun, oneself. Okay. So you can use, they kind of all mush together, they all kind of blend together in that. So a reflexive pronouns is normally used when the subject and the object are the same person. Okay. The subject and the object is the same person. So normally in a sentence, we would, for example, have something like John hit the ball. Oh, well, he didn't hit the ball. Let's say kick. John kicks the ball. Okay. So John being the subject, the ball being the object. Okay. So those are totally different. All right. So for example, let's say he kicks the ball. But now, if we want to, if we want to emphasize and say that the subject and the object are actually the same. Oh, there goes my pen. The subject and the object. So he and the ball are the same thing. We're going to start using um, reflexive pronouns. All right. So we can then say, for example, let's do another one here with a reflexive pronoun. We're going to say he kicks himself. Okay, that's silly. It's a silly way to say it. But in this way, the subject and the object is the same thing. She cut herself chopping the onions. Talking to oneself is not necessarily a sign of madness. Well, I hope it isn't, because I do that constantly. Um, all right, so things like that, always good to remember. Okay, we really enjoyed ourselves at the party. Okay, reflexive pronouns. We normally use reflexive pronouns after most prepositions if they refer back to the subject. All right, if they refer back to the subject, only then. He should be really proud of himself. It reflects back to the subject. We do not use it, and this is very, very important. We do not use it after prepositions of place. Okay. What we do use is we just use object pronouns. Okay. So for example, she told her husband to sit in the chair in front of her, not herself. Okay? They put the luggage behind them, not behind themselves. Okay. So if it's a preposition of place, we don't use reflexive pronouns, only object pronouns. When it comes to the preposition with, when it means accompanied by, we do not use a reflexive pronoun. Okay. He took his son with him. Right. That means his son is accompanying him. All right. The two of them are going. So that'll be him. But for example, if you were to use, let's say, he talks to himself. He talks with himself. Now, that part, that with there, does not refer to accompanied by. All right, it doesn't mean that you go with someone. It's something you do to yourself. Then it's fine. Then you can use a reflexive pronoun. Okay. So let's carry on to this one. Now, one way to use this is to emphasize who did the action. Okay, that's a nice way to kind of really bring that in there. We also use it to emphasize that the subject does the action and nobody else, or nobody else is involved. All right. You can use the reflexive pronoun at the end of the sentence. You can use it after the subject. It doesn't really matter. All right. I will talk to Anna myself. Okay. That's directly. All right. That's at the end of the sentence. I think you should do it yourself. Or Paul himself, that's right after the subject, designed everything. All right. So that way you can really, really emphasize that that person did the action. You can also use things like by myself, by yourself, by oneself, etc. And that just basically means alone. All right, alone, without anybody else, without anybody's help, without any other person's input. All right. My son doesn't like to be by himself, so he doesn't like to be alone. All right. She raised her 4 children by herself, meaning alone, nobody else, without anybody's help. You can also use on my own, or on your own, on her own, on his own. It is the same thing. It means the same thing. So by myself, by yourself, or on my own, on your own. It means exactly the same thing. I was on my own all morning. She did it on her own. So those are reflexive pronouns. Now, some verbs have no reflexive pronouns. Okay? There are some of them. These verbs include things like dress, shave, wash, relax, hurry, or open. They do not have a reflexive pronoun. Okay, so the first thing I do is wash, shave, and dress. We do not say myself. All right, it is generally assumed that you would do it yourself. Okay, it's assumed because if I say I'm going to take a shower or I'm going to wash, I I don't have to say myself because I'm going to do it myself. All right. I don't have people coming in, washing me, shaving me, and dressing me. Okay, I'm not a king. I think the kings nowadays, they don't even do it themselves. They do it themselves at any rate. So things like that. When I arrive home, I want to relax on the sofa, not I want to relax myself on the sofa. All right. Please hurry yourself, or we'll be late. Okay. And we don't say it. Okay. It's just hurry or we'll be late. You don't need to hurry yourself. Okay, so some of these words do not use reflexive pronouns. Now we are on to reciprocal pronouns. Reciprocal pronouns are used when, for example, words like each other, one another. So this is when person A does something to person B and person B does something to person A. Okay, so reciprocal. All right, so they one does something to the other. All right, when the twins found each other. Okay, so twin A found twin B and twin B found twin A. Okay, they've been living apart for more than 10 years, so you get the idea there. You should try to understand one another. Okay, I should understand you, and you should understand me. Reciprocal pronouns. We can use the possessor forms, which will be each other's or one another's. You can use that as well. The lovers found in each other's arms, or the lovers were found in each other's arms. Um, so the one was found in the other's arms, and so they both, the male was found in the female, and the female was found in the male. So, in each other's arms. The couple enjoyed one another's company. Um, so couple A enjoyed, or person A enjoyed B's company and B enjoyed A's company, each other's. So we can use the possessor forms as well. All right, so I don't want to really go any further with these. So tonight, then, let's just have a quick look at what we've done in this lesson. So we've had a look at the generic pronouns you, one, we, or one, you, we. All right. So we had a look at those ones. All right. One, you, and we. In those ones, um, this is when we want to talk about a group of people or a person, and we want to. It's just in general. We're not mentioning a specific person. Then we had a look at reflexive pronouns. Okay, that's when the object and the subject is the same. Again, remember we said not after prepositions or place, and there are certain verbs that we do not use reflexive pronouns. We also then had to look at the reciprocal pronouns. It's basically each other and one another when person A does something to B and B does something to A. Okay. So we're going to keep it. I'm going to stop it on that note. So what I will do is I'm going to forward you some exercises as well in the email. So the email will have the link to YouTube for the video, and it'll also have some exercises that you can do. And I want to ask you or implore that you try and do these exercises. I'm going to send you in a different email. I'll send you the answers. But I really, really hope that you would try these exercises. They are good for your speaking. All right, they'll help you with your speaking, they'll help you with your writing, and it'll give you a good way to express yourself a little better. So that's it for now. So I hope you have a wonderful time. God bless. See you next time. Bye.